Do enlightened beings meditate? Well, first of all, I'm an enlightened being and I no longer meditate. I don't meditate. Why? Because meditation is like sharpening a knife. Sharpen your knife. What are you sharpening the knife for? For some ultimate cut. The ultimate cut. Of like a tomato. You sharpen your knife and you try to cut the tomato, it doesn't work. It's not sharp enough. It needs to be perfectly sharp. So my life, my 9 years of from 2019, from the time that I was 19 years of age until 27 years of age, I was just sharpening the knife, sharpening and sharpening. Some days I was really intense into the sharpening act and really made it quite sharp. Some days I didn't really do anything and it naturally got dull or whatever. A knife doesn't get naturally dull, but maybe I was cutting something else and it got dulled like that. But I sharpened it enough that I finally completed the cut. The tomato has been cut in half, sliced in half. That's it, my work and life is done. I've reached the goal of my life. That's it. There's no reason for me to sharpen my knife any longer. It would just be ridiculous if I sat down with my eyes closed and started doing something. It doesn't mean that I can't or shouldn't. I can, and I maybe should in the future. You know why? Because meditation is a mind work. It's mind working. You're working with your mind. You can achieve a lot of things if you work with your mind. Maybe if I want to learn something or investigate some reality, I'll close my eyes and I'll start to investigate. Or maybe if I want to teach the practice to someone else, I'll have to kind of go back to, okay, how does this work and what happens? What are the obstacles? What are the challenges? What are the roadblocks? I'll figure those out and I'll dispense them to you. Why else is it necessary to meditate? Well, it's not to say that I don't meditate. I do still. Not in the sense that I did once, the formal type of meditation with my legs crossed and holding my hands together. But more so like, I am a meditation. How I'm walking, I'm not paying attention to the world around me or things that are happening outside. If you were to really look at me, most of my attention is inward. About 99% of my attention, if you were to really investigate my life, it's inside. I'm just like curious, how does mind work? What are the mechanics behind this? Why did this happen to me? And how does this thing happen? And how do my energies work here? And this thing happened, what does this mean? How does the energy function here? That's all that I'm doing 99% of the time. The other 1%, I'm like, okay, I have to do something on a phone. I gotta what is this? And I have to write some passport details because I'm flying. And what else? I have to find some visa. That's me going out internally. But right now, in this stage of my life, still, like pretty much 100% of my attention is directly inward. So when I go to sleep, when I'm about to fall asleep, I close my eyes. That's the most deepest times of my life. That's the deepest time of my life, because I sink to the bottom of who I am and investigate various things about my day and about my life and situations, how I can make myself better. In the world, I can't really make myself any better in this way, because it's like this, okay? If you want to climb Mount Everest, you have to have some sort of training. You need to do some push-ups, you need to run, jog, swim, climb smaller mountains, learn to breathe out of an oxygen tank. And then when the time comes for you to actually go and climb this mountain, then you can do that. Why? Because the training has been there. Then you climb the mountain, you climb Mount Everest, and you go to the top. You reach the top. Now you're at the top. What is there to do? Nothing. You just sit and observe. All the training has just been preparation to meet you there. And now you're here. So what, are you going to continue training while you're at the top, doing some push-ups? No, it's not necessary. You just sit, enjoy the view, and if this climbing of Mount Everest was some perfect perfection, then you can just sit there for the rest of your life. Nothing is needed, just like I can. I can sit here for the rest of my days and it'll all be perfectly fine. And I'll go back into the existence once my body or life ends. But I'm still alive here on this planet, even though the roadblock has been cleared. I have full access to the highway of space. Even that's happened, I can still... What I can still do? Maybe I can make the car better. That's actually primarily what I can do. I'm gonna make this car super great, the best that it could possibly be. I'm gonna fully max it out. Like whatever is the best technology for car making, I'm gonna have it inside. What? Meaning I'm gonna master these 7 chakras. I'm gonna learn everything that there is to know about the third eye, the pineal gland, the throat chakra, the Vishuddhi, the Anahata, Vishuddhi, Agna, Swahasrara, everything. Okay? Maintenance, solar plexus, sacral chakra, the maintenance center, and the foundation. I want to know everything that there is to know about this creation, just as Sadhguru did. Okay. So the Buddha meditated. Even though he was perfectly enlightened. He still meditated. He would sleep 2 hours, 2.5 hours a day, which is what I want. I want to sleep as little as I possibly can. So I gotta work on my body. I'm getting there, but it's still hard. So my body hasn't been properly attuned. And he would sleep 2.5 hours. He would wake up and he would do a 1 hour of meditation, or I think 2 hours of meditation. And then he would do walking meditation, and he would do some other meditation. Why? Simply because, well, he was teaching the practice, so it's good for him to do that. Also, I'm sure he was doing some other things with his mind while he was meditating, like working on different dimensional beings and traveling various places. So he had extraordinary mental powers. He's not like some regular guy. And yeah, so he taught meditation. He also did meditation. And the monks, after they get enlightened, they also still practice meditation. Why? Because what else is there? It's extremely blissful. That's their whole training. So they might as well do it. Also, I want to share this story with you to close this video up. There was this recently, a couple of decades ago, there was this monk that was alive in Thailand. His name was Ajahn Chah. He was an enlightened Buddhist master. And he was responsible for opening up all sorts of meditation monasteries all across the world. Buddhist hermitages and Buddhist forest monasteries. So once upon a time, this one particular monk recalls him going into the little building that the Ajahn Chah was meditating. This enlightened master was meditating. Why? Because he needed to awaken him for something, I guess food was ready or something needed to be done. So this monk recalls that he knocked on the door. He went inside this little meditation place that he was meditating, and he said, Venerable sir, your attention is needed. And the guy was had his eyes closed, still not paying attention to him. And the monk got closer to him, to the master. And then finally the master awoken. When he opened his eyes were blank. That's the expression that he remembered. He was like empty in his soul, in his heart, in his mind, in his everything. He looked like he just lost his mind or lost his body. He was total emptiness. He had like emptiness in his eyes, like this. And then he kind of blinked a few times, and then his personality came back. And he's like, and he went back to his joyful state. Oh, yeah, let's go. Yeah, let's do this. Let's do that. So this monk recalls that the Ajahn Chah was in such a deep meditation that he basically lost himself, so to speak, or he became the quality of the universe, which is empty, boundless. And then when he opened his eyes, he was still in that kind of remarkable state. And then after a few blinks, his personality reemerged, and he went back to his old, regular self.